Hello, everybody. Welcome to the webinar on customizing dashboards and alerts from a 360-degree view for e-commerce applications. Let me introduce the presenters for today, the experts. We have Jagannathan, who's the technical architect for managed services at Royal Cyber, and we have got Dheeraj Prohit. Jagannathan comes with about 18 years of experience and 10 years on e-commerce application management. Dheeraj is the practice head. He comes with about 18 years of experience and is an ITIL, CCNA, ISO 2000, 27002, CISA certified. Now let me get into the agenda of what we're going to present across. We're going to talk about the standard monitoring tools on features which are available in the market and what are the limitations of standard monitoring tools. And we're going to talk about customized monitoring and why do you need customized monitoring with examples from real implementation. And we're going to talk about examples of problems identified by the customized monitoring configuration and how do you achieve 360-degree view monitoring by combining the standard monitoring as well as the customized monitoring configuration. Then there's going to be a quick overview on Royal Cyber Managed Services on the expertise that we bring across. We're going to have a live question and answer session. And there is a special offer which is coming across, which we're going to be discuss about. It's for like we're going to have like a free 1 week assessment of your monitoring process and provide suggestion for improvement to uncover the issues proactively. Before that, let me just give you a quick introduction of who Royal Cyber is about. We are a 20-year-old company incorporated in 2002 with offices in operating out of 5 continents, 10 plus offices we have, with about 1,200 employees globally, in which we have got about 250 certified employees, certified consultants. And we have been serving about almost close to about 600 plus clients across. Now, let me getting into the services that we provide. We provide services on commerce, cloud, blockchain, big data, remote process automation, mobile, artificial intelligence, machine learning, portal, middleware integration, and DevOps. This is just a representative list of the clients that we have got out of the 600. I've just taken across the names and put across like Omega, L'Oreal, IHS Market. We provide a highly reliable and high performance solution and service using the association which we have got with companies like this. That includes SAP, Salesforce, Oracle, Microsoft, Adobe, Computer Associates, Infor, just to name a few. Now let me hand it over to Jürgen, so he will take it over and he will explain it to you.
Thank you, Manoj, and thanks everyone for joining today's webinar. As Manoj shared the agenda, we will before jumping onto customized dashboard, we will discuss, what are all the standard monitoring tools in the market, and what are the aspects they cover, and where they are, what is their limitation, and where they are lagging, and why we need a customized monitoring process, and some of the problems which we identified using the customized monitoring process, like examples, and how we are, achieving 360-degree monitoring process by combining standard monitoring tools with the customized monitoring process, and finally, question and answers. So when it comes to standard monitoring tools, we can broadly classify them as browser-side monitoring and server-side monitoring. So when it comes to browser-side monitoring, the key tools are like RAM, Google Analytics, digital video recording, like digital experience, video recording tools, synthetic monitoring tools. And when it comes to server-side monitoring, the application profile monitoring tools and the cloud monitoring. So I will quickly walk through, the various aspects these tools cover. In the browser-side monitoring, the first tool is RAM. RAM is nothing but real user monitoring. So it sits on the end user browser and it gathers the statistics such as like the performance related data and if there are any JavaScript errors, or any if there are any third-party calls which are having the performance issues and the traffic-related data, that kind of statistics the RUM collects. So the typical tools in the market are like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Neuralink. So those are all some of the popular tools in the market. And when it comes to Google Analytics, it tracks the user journey. For example, I want to know how many people are using credit card checkout, and how many users are using account payment checkout, and how many people are using their uh, uh, existing address, or how many users are adding a new address and doing the checkout. So there we can have several, we can define several user journey and track them. And the main purpose of Google Analytics is if there are any drops in a particular flow or a particular step, then we detect using Google Analytics. And also, it also tracks number of active sessions, and the performance related data as well. And when it comes to digital experience video recording, these tools, they record the end user's session like a video, um, and they bookmarks some scenarios like for example errors kind of thing, so we can search and we can get corresponding video recording and see what is the flow user has followed, uh, you know to reproduce. um, so here the limitation is like these tools record only like a certain number of sessions. That depends on the license. For example, like 5,000 per month, something like that. Some of the popular tools in the market are like Crazy Egg, Full Story. Are some of the popular tools in the market. And when it comes to synthetic monitoring, it's like we can record some critical path, and we can so that synthetic monitoring tool will keep running that flow like every 5 minutes from each browser, and if there are any failures, it will trigger the alert. For example, we can say like the user is going to home page, from their category page, then a product page, and then we can check some price in the product page, something like that. So the tool will run the same steps, every 5 minutes. And if there is any error, right, for example, when it goes to category page and it's not able to find the product which we are interested, then it will trigger the alert. So synthetic monitoring is useful to detect like outages kind of scenarios. Typical, the popular tools in the market are Pingdom, like website pulse, Dynatrace, all the APM tools which we have, they provide a synthetic monitoring capability. All the RUM tools which we discussed here, they provide the synthetic monitoring capability like Dynatrace, AppDynamics, Neuralink. So when it comes to server-side monitoring, the APM tools and cloud monitoring. The APM tools, they integrate with the JVM and collect the JVM level metrics, like the thread count or heap usage or garbage collection time, CPU memory usage by the JVM. So that kind of thing. And they also track the any API calls triggered from the server, and if there are any performance degradation or the spike in errors for those API calls. So that also they detect. And the APM tools also help in triaging the performance related issues. And they provide a breakup, like, for example, if the category page is slow, then they provide a breakup where the slow was, whether any database query is causing the slowness, or any API call causing the slowness, or any the coding logic like causing the slowness. So that they help in detecting that kind of issues as well. And some of the popular tools in the market are Dynatrace, Dynamics, Neuralink. These are some of the popular tools in the market for APM. And they also collect server level, like the Linux level metrics as well, like the CPU memory usage, that resource usage as well. They also they have like agents for database for different server, like Apache server. There are different APM agents, and they collect different varieties of metrics for different types of servers. For example, database means the DB queries, related metrics, like if there are any queries taking long time or any deadlock situation, uh, you know um, that kind of issues. Also, they help in detecting. We can even do like the query analysis. What part of the query is having a performance problem. So that level of analysis, we can do with the APM tools. And when it comes to cloud monitoring, they collect the operating system level metrics, or if we are involving, Dockerization, then Dockerization level metrics like CPU, memory kind of thing. Also the network level metrics and the HTTP level metrics, like if there are spike in like 400 errors, 4xx errors, or timeouts. So that kind of metrics also the cloud monitoring tools provide. So typically that will be provided by the cloud infrastructure provider like AWS or Microsoft Azure or any cloud provider. So we do help in setting up these standard monitoring tools. Just some snippet from our dashboards. These are just snippets, not the full dashboard, just for the sake of discussion. For example, from the real user monitoring tool, we can say for category page, the average response time over the period of time, and the number of requests. How many category pages are accessed to over the time, and how many JavaScript errors over the time. So if there are any spikes or falls, then we can involve, we can do the root cause analysis. Similarly, for various pages like search pages, that level of thing. So these are collected from the browser level. And like, the country level from where and all the traffic comes to our website, and, and the various devices from where the website, where the traffic comes, and geographical distribution kind of thing. So these kind of things are collected by a real user monitoring tool. And when it comes to APM tool, they collect like JVM metrics, the application server metrics, like garbage collection time, and the heap usage. So we can see there are spikes. Then we can do the root cause analysis, and similarly the CPU usage by the application server, and the thread count, and like the service call, remote service call response time for various service calls. So these are snippet, from our dashboard, just for the sake of discussion. So anyway, let's not deep dive on the standard tools because it's a very broad area. I just want to give you a quick overview of what kind of aspects they cover. Okay, so what is the limitation where the standard monitoring tools are lagging? Right? And why we need the customized monitoring process. So the standard monitoring tools, they track the like very high level parameters. Okay, they like the so they are not focused on the our business functionality. They track the metrics like at the HTTP level. So if they detect something as an error, that means that is at HTTP level. Like it might be 404 or 500. That is the error when they detect error. So similarly, when there is a performance degradation, that kind of things they are. But when it comes the business level metrics, for example, say there is a payment decline, right? That will not be detected by the standard monitoring tools. Also, say I want to count the number of payments made by credit card or the account payment. So that level of business specific metrics that the standard monitoring tools do not collect. And say exceptions tracking. Standard monitoring tools do not help much in tracking various exceptions thrown by the applications. And the login trends, like how many users are attempting to log in and how many users are failing, that level of tracking. Also, the standard monitoring tools are very much scattered. There are a lot of tools providing different metrics, and it will be tough to get into different tools. And we need to have the login for various users. We need to have login on all the tools so that they can go to different tools and see the material. And usually everybody will not be familiar on which tool will provide what metrics. Everybody will not be familiar. All the stakeholders may not be familiar. So that is where the need for standard customized monitoring comes. So with the customized monitoring, we are able to bring all the key metrics and monitoring process into a single place, and and we are able to fulfill the gaps, and the limitations of the standard monitoring tools. And we use log as their source for the customized to gather the customized metrics and to trigger the alerts. So these are all some of the dashboards these are some of the dashboards which we create out of our customized process. So I will quickly walk through each of these dashboard. Before that, I will just go through the just their names. So the first one is the external service call dashboard, and the exceptions dashboard. To track the exceptions, and the traffic dashboard to track the to track various pages kind of thing, and the workflow dashboard, which I will describe uh, in the next slide, and performance dashboards and the business metrics dashboard. They deal with like the orders kind of thing, like the number of payments, number of web leads, that kind of key metrics for the business. They're like revenue related. And the DDoS dashboard is that it will focus on like if there are any attacks, like somebody generating malicious traffic, like high volume of traffic targeting our server to bring down that kind of detail. And the server dashboard, like whether all the servers are up and running, whether any restarts, that kind of thing. Okay. So when it comes to external service call dashboard, right, they help in tracking the things like, for various service calls triggered from the application server, right? So they help in tracking like success versus failure trend. So here failure means it's not the HTTP level failure. Here the failure means like a business level failure. For example, payment decline. That kind of failures, and the failures trend alone, and any performance degradation, and like pie charts of various response times or various response codes, you know, and the data tables, like by combining various key fields. Like for example, take a web lead. The web lead can be from an existing customer or new customer, or web lead can be somebody who made a payment, like a token, like a reservation amount, or you might show so interest in a specific product, or you might be generic web lead. So these are all various key fields. So we combine different key fields and collect the metrics using the data tables and number of service calls. That level of things we track. So some of the examples, like the response time distribution and the service call slowness, the slowness of, so anything which is with the service call takes more than 3 seconds, that is slow. Then we see number of such calls over the period of time. If there's any spike, then there is something happening wrong. And for example, success versus failure trend. Okay, so like the web leads of different types. So these are just a snippet to give some idea. And yeah, so for example, when it comes to payment, like approved versus declined, and only declined trend, and various status as a pie chart, and for example, is a different level of approval, like a the credit approval. So like various reasons for the decline, the trend over the time. So these are some of the examples. This is not a complete list, so just to give some idea. So when it comes to exception dashboard, the application will be generating several exceptions, and we track each of those exceptions. Like, so these are some of the standard exceptions, like timeouts, 500 errors, that kind of thing, 400 errors, that kind of tracking. And the error pages, this is like the user will be taken to some standard error page, so that volume, and the various exceptions. For example, the null pointer exceptions, so there are a lot of different cases, and we track. So when there is any spike, then we do the deeper analysis. Typically, sometimes a deployment might have happened, or somebody made some database update, or somebody made some configuration update, or some change happened in the external system, which we call that using our API. So there could be several reasons for these kind of spikes. And the traffic dashboard. So we track like the various pages like a category page, product page, and the UTM camp, that is a marketing camp, and the number of users for the time active in the site over the time. So we track by IP address as well as by the session ID, and the login trend, success versus failure, number of users attempting and what number of users successfully logging in, and the UTM camp, the marketing camp trend. So that kind of things we track by our traffic dashboard. They're just some examples. And when it comes to workflow dashboard, it's based on the source page and the target page. For example, user can go to a product page from a category page, or he can go from search result, or he can go from home page. So we create that combination of source page and the target page, and we create this kind of workflow dashlets. Particularly, these are created for checkout flows, and if there is any drop, then we do the root cause analysis. And for example, just to give an example of the problem we detected. So one time there is a step where there is a mobile number validation. So the user's mobile number, for the user's mobile number, OTP will be triggered, and the user has to confirm the OTP. So when the we see the OTP is user is attempting, OTP is triggered, but the confirmation is having a drop. Then while further analyzing, we found that the OTP is not really reaching the end user mobile number. Even though OTP is generated and triggered, but it is not really reaching the end user mobile number. So then we noted a drop. That kind of things we identify in the overflow dashlets, and we notify the corresponding team, and we got it fixed. And the performance dashboard. So we track the performance of the storefront pages and the service calls and the solar response time. When when I say service call, various service calls. So we track different service calls performance. That kind. Then we also generate like pie charts for the distribution, like how much is less than 1 second, 1 to 2 second, that kind of thing. And when it comes to business metrics, these are like, as I said, these are like the business related data, like order, number of orders, and the various classification of that. So this is the difference between the standard tools and the customized monitoring. So in the standard tool, we will not be getting this kind of breakups. So the standard tools will only go by like the URLs, the API call URL. It will not gather metrics based on the data we are passing to the API, or it will not focus on the response data which is which we get for the API call. It will just it will stop at the URL level. So with the customized monitoring tool, with the customized monitoring process, we are able to interpret the JSON, and we are able to create the different lines for based on the value for various fields. Like the data table, by combining various key fields. For example, web lead with for existing customer with payment, like that we can create combination, and we can get the volume. And the DDoS dashboard, that is like if there are any attacks, like somebody, for example, we consider user agent and the IP address. So sometimes some malicious user will be generating a lot of traffic to bring down the servers. So that kind of things we track by user. We have seen a case the user will be using different IP address, but we detect that kind of scenario by using user agent. you know the user agent will be same even the IP changes. Sometimes the user will be triggering from same IP. So then sometimes our servers will get restarted because of that. We have even seen the case where the outage happened due to that, and we involve a security team or web application forward team to set some threshold or block a corresponding user agent or IP address, or sometimes we set some threshold. If the traffic comes from a particular IP or user agent is high, then blocks such a traffic. So that level of configuration also, we do. And the server dashboard, when it comes to server dashboard, we track like number of containers, like we can say number of server instances of for various things. For example, Solar, how many storefront servers, how many Apache, so that trend, and if there are any server restarts, and for various servers, what was the start time and what was the lost active time. So that level of things, we collect from the server dashboard. So these are all the dashboards, and from we also create the alerts, right? So for various cases, for example, if there are high volume of 500 errors or timeouts, or the error pages, or the slowness, be it storefront page slowness, or be it a service call slowness. We have the trend over the time, and if there is any spike from the trend, then we trigger the alerts. And if there are server restarts also, we trigger the alerts. And if there is a spike in exception volume, like typically this happens after the deployment, some new kind of exception will come into picture, and there will be a spike, and we trigger. And if there are bots traffic, spike in bots traffic, and if there's any spike in specific type of exception, or unexpected response from service call, for example, high volume of declines, then high volume of decline compared to the typical case, then we trigger the alert. Also, the one key thing is when there is any drop in the volume of any service calls, right? That also we trigger. This has helped in catching several issues. Okay. For example, say during the checkout journey, if there are like 5 different steps and 5 different service calls are involved there, like say I assume the first 2 service call strand is normal, but the third service call strand is going down, then we trigger the alert. So that means there is something wrong between the second and the third service call. In that step there is something happening wrong, and then we track the user journey, and we identify. So with this we have identified several key issues. And when there are cron job failures or indexing failures, for that as well we detect alerts. We create alerts. So here are some of the examples, like the alert emails. So we get alert emails for various cases like this: abnormal volume of exception, high volume of error pages, the 5 excess errors, you know. So, and then the email will also have some sample log statements which created that alert, and we can also view the logs, the detail, like all the log statements. The email will have sample, and there will be a link from the email to view the whole list of log statement. For example, we could see the spike for the internal server error during this window. Similarly, like service call slowness, they are just the examples to show. 400 bad request errors, the gateway timeout errors. Yeah, this is like when the server restarts, happens. Um, this is just some examples, and so these are examples for spikes. For example, like there is a response time degradation, so the spike, and here's some external system failure spike. So here exception calling API is a spike. And so for example, here there is a drop in some web leads. So then we do the root cause analysis for the drop, and we got it fixed. And so here there is a reduction in exception. That means it's a good sign, something got fixed. Typically it happens after the deployments. And so UTM camp, marketing camp, failures from the marketing camp. sometimes when the marketing camp is triggered, there will be typo in the URLs, so that will cause this problem. Or somebody will be using the marketing camp, URL, but that will be like a malicious user. So they also create this kind of scenarios, spikes. Drop in exception, that's a good sign. So there are some examples for spikes. And we do generate the daily monitoring report. So for various key parameters, we take the volume for today and we compare that with the last week same day. For example, Monday to Monday, Tuesday to Tuesday, like that. And if there is like more than like 30% or 10% degradation difference, then we just we do the root cause analysis kind of thing. Sometimes the last week might have had a spike due to some campaign or something, or maybe the current day might have had an issue. There might be some service call issue. There might be sometimes the inventory, there will be issue on the inventory feed, which happens every day. There are a lot of scenarios, seen several such scenarios. So by combining the standard monitoring tools, right, like such like cloud monitoring, synthetic monitoring, RAM, APM tool, Google Analytics, digital experience. So by combining these standard monitoring tools with our customized monitoring process, right, we are able to achieve the 360-degree view monitoring. With that, we are able to give utmost quality to the system by uncovering the problems sooner than later. And in fact, we are able to detect most of the problems using the customized dashboards itself. You know, um, and finally, I leave the deck for question and answers. And one quick thing: this webinar is from our managed services practice, and we would like to give a quick, walkthrough for a couple of minutes about various offerings and expertise in our managed services practice. And I invite Dheeraj, who is our Manager Services Practice Lead, to give such a walkthrough. Thank you.
Thanks, Jagan and Manoj. My name is Dheeraj. I cover managed services, in which what best practices are followed along with unique feature of Royal Cyber Managed Services. Our motto is assisting organizations to focus on business. Let's quickly go through Royal Cyber Managed Services. We have excellent pool of ITIL certified consultant who is based out at our onshore as well as offshore offices. Royal Cyber have its own global production support center. From there, we providing around the clock support to our enterprise clients. In terms of support, we cover both cloud as well as a traditional environment. Detail we will cover in our upcoming slide. Royal Cyber entire managed services followed ITL best practices. The type of managed services we are providing support, there are 4 different categories. And for each category, we have different subcategories also. So start with the IT infrastructure traditional environment, which we cover data center, network operation center, security operation center, as well as storage backup and disaster management. Generally, such kind of a services we provided on premises. Moving to the next category, IT asset management. So there are multiple tools available in the market, ServiceNow, Bellark, Advisor, etc. So based on those key skills, we have excellent pool of resources. The next one is FME. So based on the client specific key skills, we are providing facility management engineer also. Going to the next category, cloud. We are providing support on both public and the private as well as combination of both hybrid also. Azure and AWS, we have a partnership with both prestigious cloud Moving to the next and most demanding DevOps. So under which we have a Jenkins, CI/CD, pipeline creation. So those we are already serving to multiple clients. The next category is application managed services. So post-production minor or major bug fixes with the proper sprint planning, we have support. And different vertical wise or sector wise also we have like e-commerce, banking and finance, insurance, oil and gas, manufacturing, etc. Last but not least, based on the IT service management tool, we are providing a service tech support also. Thanks everyone. Thanks Jagan and Manoj.